everyone, and welcome to Season 3, Episode 39 of Pro Wrestling's Top 50. I'm your host, Travis McNeil, and today we continue our countdown of the top 50 matches in ECW history with match number 12 on our list, which is the mixed tag team match between Rob Van Dam and Bill Alfonso against Tommy Dreamer and Beulah McGillicutty from As Good As It Gets, held on September the 20th of 1997. I am a sucker for matches on my birthday. My birthday is September 20th, and this is one of my favorite matches of all time, and I could see a little bit of criticism perhaps as to it ranking as high on this list as it does, but I think this is one of the best revenge matches of all time. It is an incredible example of blood being used effectively, which is something I've talked about a lot in this series. And there are so many external factors in play with this match that the overall story is just, it's so compelling and it's so great. And this is the perfect example of a match, you know, exceeding any possible expectations that there could be for it. You look at this match on paper, it is nothing special. In fact, it's something that I probably proactively wouldn't really choose to watch. But it is so great, it is unbelievable, and I love it unconditionally. So before we get started on the match itself, you should know a little bit about the backstory. So in 1997, we had the quote-unquote WWF invasion of ECW. So we had the ECW invasion of Raw in early 97. Rob Van Dam, wrestled the match against Jeff Hardy on that show. Sabu, did the famous dive off the Raw sign. This would lead into Barely Legal, where manager Bill Alfonso would turn his back on Taz, join up with Sabu and Rob Van Dam. And then later on in the summer at WrestlePalooza, Jerry the King Lawler would make his ECW debut, and they would basically form this faction of WWF wrestlers. They would have some other, folks kind of join in their ranks, with Doug Furnace and Phil LaFawn and Brackus, and but at its core it was Van Dam, Sabu, Lawler. While this WWF invasion is going on, it's well documented the relationship Paul Lee had with WWF at the time, how he's basically in bed with them and seeking out whenever he needed something from Vince McMahon, and at the same time allowing a lot of his talent over time to go to the WWF. While all this was going on though, Todd Gordon, who was the founder of ECW, was doing the same, unbeknownst to Paul Lee or anybody else in ECW, with WCW. So Todd Gordon was essentially in bed with WCW, and he was trying to get a lot of wrestlers to leave ECW and go over to WCW. Raven was the first, Perry Saturn as well. We would see Stevie Richards, and ultimately, over the next year or two, we would see the Sandman and Bam Bam Bigelow and Mikey Whipwreck, among others. Just like wrestlers had been going to the WWF, they would be going to WCW. Paul Lee took umbrage to this and ousted Todd Gordon from ECW. But the story is that Bill Alfonso, who had previously been a manager a referee in WCW before, becoming a heel referee and ultimately a manager in ECW, had been helping Todd Gordon with his mission. So rather than, fire Fonzie right away like he had done to Gordon, we were having this match as good as it gets. Beulah would get her comeuppance on Fonzie, and then after that point, Fonzie would be, let go. So we get this match. It starts with a promo where Rob Van Dam basically says, I'm, part of the WWF, I'm above this match, I want nothing to do with it. That brings Tommy and Beulah out, and we get a really brisk Tommy RVD brawl to start. Tommy comes in, hits a low blow, cactus clothesline to the floor. The entire time that they brawl, Man in the Box by Alice in Chains is playing. That was Tommy's entrance music. So it's kind of like a New Jack match where they're brawling, with this music playing. And Tommy Dreamer proceeds to do an absolutely nutty spot where he climbs the top rope. First he crotches Van Dam on the guardrail, climbs the top rope, and delivers like a diving chair shot off the top to the floor, but lands on his feet, breaking his foot. So you might remember early on in this season, I had a video about a three-way dance between Shane Douglas, Sabu, and Tommy Dreamer. That was, the month following this, where I talked about Tommy's broken foot. This is how he did it. So we get this kind of compact brawl. Tommy tries his best. They do some stuff with Jeff Jones, who was a heel referee at the time before he, would ultimately become a manager as well as Judge Jeff Jones, where he pulls a chair away from Tommy, but then, Tommy ducks a spin kick, so RVD basically hits like the Van Daminator on Jeff Jones. Tommy gets like a DDT and hits his own version of the 5-star frog splash, but that brings in Sabu. So Sabu comes in, him and Van Dam, they hit stereo drop kicks with chairs, around the head of Tommy, and they end up putting him, simultaneously with dives off the top through a table, which was their big move that they were doing at the time. So Tommy's got this broken foot, he's been put through a table, he's been concussed with chair shots, he's getting medical attention, the referee's been taken out, it's a big chaotic scene, and Van Dam just ups and leaves, because he wanted nothing to do with the match to begin with. So we are left with Beulah and Fonzie in the ring, and Fonzie shoves Beulah. After some quick jaw-jacking, Fonzie goes to hit her. Beulah pulls a cookie sheet out from the t-shirt that she was wearing. Fonzie punches the cookie sheet. She proceeds to hit him with the cookie sheet. And Bill Alfonso hits the biggest blade job of all time. Right up there with Eddie Guerrero at Judgment Day 04. He bleeds so much. The visual of it is incredible. I believe he lost a third of his blood during this match and ended up having to get a blood transfusion for it. Thankfully, everything turned out okay for Fonzie. We all love Bill Alfonso. But this match just escalates. So we have Fonzie bleeding all over the place. Beulah, takes her top off and has, like a Nike sports bra underneath it, which, at the time in 1997, everybody was very much into that. And we get a very quick, not a squash match, but basically a match between two non-wrestlers that the crowd loses it for. The crowd reaction to this match is incredible. Beulah is the biggest babyface to ever be in the ECW arena. Bill Alfonso, bleeding all over the place, is the biggest heel to ever be in the ECW arena. The crowd is in awe of what they are seeing, and this match is absolutely incredible. So Fonzie, uses cheap heel tactics. He hits a low blow, and he chokes Beulah with his whistle. Fonzie would always blow the whistle. It's so annoying, and he chokes her with the string on the whistle. He goes for a suplex, and Beulah ends up turning it into a DDT. She hits a lariat, and Fonzie tries to take like the Marty Jannetty flip bump off of it, and it's wild. Fonzie gets control again and tries to go up top for a moonsault, but he's so woozy, for selling the blood, and it's probably legitimate. So Beulah trips him and gets him in a tree of woe, puts the chair in front of him, and hits the baseball drop kick. There's a whole bunch of baby faces at ringside that came out, for Tommy's broken foot, and they're like pounding the mat, like Balls Mahoney's out there, New Jack's out there, Axel Rotten's out there, Hack Myers is out there, and that's getting the crowd even more, ramped up. Fonzie is just, there's blood everywhere. There's blood all over Fonzie, blood all over the ring, blood all over Beulah, which again is an incredible visual. If you, think of, female revenge movies like I Spit on Your Grave and stuff like that, that's what this match is. It's a woman that had been, degraded and talked down to and physically abused and everything like that by this, shitty little heel of a man for, a couple of years at this point. And she finally stood up to him and got her revenge, and boy did she ever. So the finish here is Beulah goes up for the Beulah salt, the moonsault. Fonzie cuts her off, tries a powerbomb. She turns it into a Hurricane Rana, and it's enough for the 3. And the ending visual of this match is incredible, where Beulah, in her Nike sports bra, Fonzie's blood all over her, tears in her eyes while the crowd gives her, an absolute hero's reaction. She hits the classic Tommy Dreamer, ECW pose, and it's an incredible visual for this match to go out on. The story is that Fonzie and what he did in this match and the amount of blood that he lost specifically actually allowed him to keep his job because of what he gave to ECW that night. It outweighed, everything he'd taken away with ECW trying to help Todd Gordon, get these wrestlers to jump to WCW, and, Fonzie, we would see stick around until, the dying days of ECW. This match is phenomenal. I don't believe As Good As It Gets is available on the WWE Network, but this match did air in full on an episode of Hardcore TV around the time, so that you can find on the WWE Network. This may have also ended up on a commercial release, like the Extreme Rules or, ECW's Most Violent Matches or whatever DVDs, so you can check those out if you're a physical media person. The Hardcore TV could be on Peacock, I honestly don't know, but if you look hard enough, you can find this match online, and if you've never seen it, if you can stomach the blood, it is well worth going out of your way for. And again, in a bubble, it's good on its own, but watching, the entire run of ECW, it is so much more meaningful, and it is so amazing, to see Beulah, who, a fantastic, character and a fantastic, addition to ECW, get this moment to shine. It's wonderful, and I love it. So you can subscribe to my channel here on YouTube, though, of course, so that you don't miss a video. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Wrestling50, and you can please join me again tomorrow as we continue to count down Pro Wrestling's Top 50. Top 50.